Welcome to StrongHER Voices, the podcast for women stepping into their StrongHER era. Whether you're navigating perimenopause, menopause, or simply the next powerful chapter of your life, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Ashley Basilio, certified menopause health coach, fitness professional, and lifelong learner. Here, we replace confusion with clarity, isolation with community, and overwhelm with simple, sustainable steps forward. We'll talk honestly about the changes happening in our bodies and lives, explore strategies to help you feel energized and confident, and hear from experts and real women walking this journey beside you. Because this isn't the end of anything, it's at the beginning of becoming stronger. Let's dive in. Hi, friends, and welcome to StrongHER Voices. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we are talking about one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself in midlife, building muscle and protecting your bones. So many women tell me that they feel weaker, softer, or more tired in this stage of life. And if this sounds like you, this may just be your wake-up call. The truth is, if you feel this way, it's a sign that your body is asking you to pay attention. It needs you to take action. And so we're going to talk about why strength training and bone health matter in this phase of life more now than ever, and what's actually happening to your muscles and bones in menopause, and how you can turn this chapter into your strongest yet. If there's one message I want to drive home, it's this: strength training is not optional. Sorry, I don't have any magic bullet for you. It's not a luxury that other people with more time and money than you get to participate in. Strength training is essential self-care, and it's as important as getting enough sleep and eating properly. In today's episode, I'm going to kind of split this topic up into 5 mini sections. And so here's how it's going to run down today. We're going to talk about what's happening to our bodies in midlife with our muscles and bones. We're going to get into the technical terms: osteoporosis, osteopenia, sarcopenia. We're going to cover why strength training and muscle are the best medicine that you're not taking. Then we're going to talk about nutrition, because that plays a powerful role. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up with 5 specific actions that you can start today to protect your body and your future. So let's talk about what's really happening in midlife. Okay. So many women in their 40s or 50s are starting to feel drained, tired, and weakened. They're noticing it more now than ever. Not just physically drained and tired, but emotionally as well. And there's this creeping sense that their bodies are changing and they don't recognize themselves in the mirror or in how they feel when they wake up in the morning. This is so true for me. I swear, when I wake up in the morning, it's kind of like I feel it all in my stomach. I just feel like I'm not sure some days if I can even tackle my day. And I've been active my whole life. I was a dancer, cheerleader, majorette in grade school through high school. And in my entire adult life, I've taught fitness classes. So in my 30s, when I started hearing that, once you enter your 40s, things break down, things are going to change, you're going to change how you feel, I never believed that for me. I knew it wouldn't be true about me because I was in such a good habit of always exercising. But guess what? It happens to all of us, and I feel it now more than ever. Definitely do. So if that sounds familiar to you, you're not imagining it either. And more importantly, you're not failing. What's happening is your body is navigating some massive biological shifts, and you may have never been taught properly what's happening or what is the right way to respond. So during menopause, perimenopause, levels of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, those 3 main hormones, they decline. And these hormones are not just reproductive hormones. They're actually whole body regulators. If you've listened to my podcast or done any research in the past, you know that there are estrogen receptors on every organ in a woman's body. So when these hormones decline, they affect not only your reproductive system, but your metabolism, your brain, your muscles, your sleep, your bones, your mood, everything. Everything is impacted. And actually, I'll just put a plug here. If you're looking for a broader explanation of how menopause is a full body takeover, check out my last episode. It was called Beyond the Hot Flash, and I go into greater details about all of that. But anyway, by now you know that estrogen is a protective hormone. And so estrogen in particular plays a protective role in both muscle and bone health. And so if you want a good visual, just think of estrogen like your internal scaffolding in your body, right? It's kind of the structure holding it all together. It's invisible, but it helps maintain your structure, strength, and resilience. And so as estrogen declines, that scaffolding weakens. And what happens is your bones become more porous, muscles break down faster than they can rebuild. And what's tricky is that these changes don't happen all at once. They actually creep in. So over time, you might notice your workouts feel harder. Something that you used to do all the time, a particular kind of workout, now feels so much more challenging because your energy is lower, or maybe your joints ache more than they used to, or maybe you've gained weight around your midsection, even though nothing's changed in your habits. You might find yourself losing strength or balance, or feeling less flexible or more fragile. Now, Dr. Vonda Wright, and by the way, if you don't follow her, you definitely should follow her, get her book Unbreakable, and subscribe to her newsletter. She is a specialist in musculoskeletal aging and has tons of good information for us. And she tells us that for most women, bone loss begins in perimenopause. That's right. Bone loss begins in perimenopause, before we're even thinking about menopause, and accelerates sharply in the 5 to 7 years after menopause. So you could be, depending on where you are in that spectrum, losing bone at a rapid pace, and you'll have no idea until something breaks. Now, here's the frustrating truth. The medical system often doesn't catch this early enough. So we're told to wait and see, or just go for more walks, or that we're just aging normally. In fact, I asked for a DEXA scan at my appointment this year, and I was told, no, we're not doing that until a few years after menopause. I personally haven't hit menopause yet, so I was just told to wait. What's happening in midlife isn't random. It's hormone driven, but it's also actionable. And the good news is that this doesn't have to be the beginning of the end. With the right support, like strength training, smart nutrition, sleep recovery, and possibly hormone therapy, you can not only maintain your muscle and bone health or stop the breakdown, but you can improve it. You do not need to accept decline as your default. This is your chance to reclaim your body's strength and your sense of self and build a foundation for your future. And it's not about vanity. It's about vitality. Now, some of these hormone shifts, especially the loss of estrogen, can feel like they're out of your control, but there are ways to support your body through this transition. And one option that's gaining more attention and finally more accurate information is menopause hormone therapy, abbreviated MHT. Now, you might have also seen this abbreviated HRT, hormone replacement therapy, or HT hormone therapy. It all means the same thing. Now, hormone therapy isn't the right fit for everyone, but research shows it can significantly help slow bone loss, support mood and sleep, and improve overall quality of life in women who are good candidates. I personally started hormone therapy early this year, and as effective as it was for some of the severe symptoms I was having, there was even a bigger reason why I wanted to start hormone therapy, and that was to protect my brain and my bones and my heart. In other words, the long-term consequences of menopause. So if you're within 10 years of menopause, or if you're under the age of 60, menopause hormone therapy could be a tool worth exploring with your doctor. And it's not a magic solution, but when used thoughtfully, it can be part of your holistic strategy to protect your strength and vitality during this stage of life. Now let's talk definitions, because understanding what's happening gives us the power to take action. Okay. Let's talk muscles first. Sarcopenia. This is the medical term for the age-related loss of skeletal muscle mass and strength. Now, most women are at their peak muscle mass somewhere between their late 20s and early 40s. That's pretty early in life. And starting as early as age 30, we begin to lose muscle gradually. And that loss speeds up during and after menopause. This is because estrogen and testosterone both are crucial for maintaining muscle tissue. They start to decline. And so without strength training or proper nutrition, the body doesn't get the signal to rebuild muscle. And unlike fat, muscle is metabolically active. That means it helps burn calories, regulate blood sugar, and support overall vitality. So here's the encouraging part, and I really want you to hear this. Sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass, is reversible. That's right. Muscle is incredibly responsive to resistance training, no matter your age. You can build muscle at age 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and beyond. It is never too late to put on muscle. Your body is still capable. It just needs the right, safe challenge. All right, now let's talk about your bones. Women reach peak bone mass around age 30. And after that, bone remodeling, which is the process of breaking down and rebuilding bone, becomes much less efficient. And once menopause hits, that natural decline turns into a very steep drop. I don't know if you've ever seen a bone density chart. If you haven't, you're going to want to look this up. It is alarming. The drop in bone density as we age is significantly steeper after age 30 for women than men. Why? Well, as you may have guessed, and it is our recurring theme here in this podcast, estrogen. It plays a big role in maintaining bone density. So when it drops, bone resorption, which is the breakdown of bone, starts to outpace new bone formation. And so that's what's causing that drop. There's two key terms here, and I want to make sure that you understand the difference between these, osteopenia and osteoporosis, because there's a big difference. And it's important to know, if you're diagnosed with one of these, which category you're in. Now, osteopenia is a diagnosis that means your bone mineral density is lower than normal, but not yet in the high risk zone. And it is a specific measurement. So it's diagnosed with a T-score between -1 and -2.4 on a DEXA scan. So if you think of osteopenia as a warning sign, it's a red flag. It's telling you your bones need support. It's time to take action before things get worse. Okay? Osteoporosis is much more severe. Very, very serious diagnosis. And it's diagnosed with a T-score of -2.5 or lower. Osteoporosis means that your bones are porous, brittle, and much more likely to break from a fall or even something as minor as a cough or bending over. That's a pretty serious condition. That's very, very scary. And what's even scarier is you can't feel it happening. You don't know. That's why they call osteoporosis a silent disease, because it doesn't show up with any symptoms until a break occurs. So screening is extremely critical. If you're in your late 40s or early 50s, you should be bugging your providers about getting a DEXA scan, especially if you've already gone through menopause. This is a quick, painless, and clearly valuable scan that lets you know where you stand. And as I said before, knowledge is power, so don't hide from it. Let's look at some facts that really hit home. These are from the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation. About 10 million Americans have osteoporosis and another 44 million have osteopenia. So that's 54 million people, or half of adults over 50 who are at risk of breaking a bone. So for women over 50, if this is you, listen up, your risk of an osteoporosis-related fracture, a fracture that is because your bones are not strong enough, is 1 out of every 2. That is higher than the risk of heart attack, stroke, and breast cancer combined. Here's a stat that shocks me every time. 1 in 3 people who suffer a hip fracture die within a year. And over half never regain their independence, meaning they can never walk again independently. So this is very, very, very serious. But here's the good news, and there is good news. It's not too late. You're not powerless. With the right lifestyle changes like strength training, protein-rich nutrition, and possibly medical support, you can protect your bones. You can slow down or reverse osteopenia, and you can even reduce your risk of fractures if you have osteoporosis. So this is not about fear. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to give you information that you can use for action and feel empowered. And as I tell my clients, it is never too late to make the next right decision. So if you're listening now and this feels like you, let's get into some actions that can help. So muscle. Muscle is your midlife superpower, and I say that with zero exaggeration. As we age, we often hear a lot about what we're losing. We're losing collagen. We're losing hormones. We're losing our energy and our patience. but I want to focus on what you can gain. And muscle is one of the most powerful things that you can build at any age. Like I said, you can literally start right now, today, with whatever you have, wherever you are, you can start to build muscle today. It's not about strength and fitness. Muscle is an organ of longevity. It's deeply involved in your metabolism, your blood sugar regulation, your hormone function, your brain health, your mood. Muscle is the thing that helps you get up off the floor, carry your groceries, walk up the stairs without pain, sleep better, and think clearly. So you know how you might feel like your metabolism's slowing down or you're gaining weight easily in midlife? That's not just all about food. It's about muscle loss as well. So you may have heard muscle is metabolically active. What does that mean? It means that muscle burns energy when you're sitting still. You've heard of your BMR, maybe basal metabolic rate. This is the number of calories your body burns just by laying in bed, just by breathing, just by being alive. It's not zero. The more lean muscle you have, the higher your BMR, the more resilient and efficient your metabolism is. And so the better your metabolism is, the more calories you burn at rest. When we start to lose muscle and we don't replace it, our metabolism slows down, fat gain increases, and energy dips. This is not your fault. It's just biology. It just happens, but you can fight back. Here's something I recently shared in my community because I share a lot of good educational information, especially about healthy aging. I told my community members that if I could choose one habit for every woman in midlife, it would be strength training. Why? It's not because it's trendy. It's not about good looks or aesthetics. It's because it seriously changes how your body ages. Strength training does more than any pill, any powder, any passive intervention can. I'm going to go through a long list next of what the research shows that strength training improves. So stick with me. You may have heard some of it before, but it is worth repeating. Strength training improves metabolism. We just talked about that one. So it increases how much calories you're able to burn at rest. Strength training improves blood sugar control because muscles, they act as the main glucose storage and usage center. They absorb sugar from the bloodstream, out of the bloodstream for energy during exercise. So that helps regulate your blood sugar. Muscles pull on bones during exercise, triggering bones to grow stronger and denser. So strength training helps improve bone density. We know that strength training increases muscle mass and functional strength. And I want to remind you that functional strength activities are those that mimic normal everyday life. So it takes functional strength to get in and out of your car or your chair, to push a grocery cart, to pull the sheets off the bed to wash them, right? Those are functional strength activities that strength training helps you maintain the muscle to continue to do as you age. Strength training also improves cognitive health by increasing brain boosting hormones, promoting new cell growth, which improves memory, focus, and executive function. And a big one, reduces the risk of dementia. Your heart health improves from strength training because your blood vessel function is improved, the heart's efficiency improves, metabolism, as we talked about, and all of these things help reduce strain on the cardiovascular system. You've heard strength training is good for anxiety and mood. And here's why. Because when you train and exercise, move your body, feel-good hormones are released, like endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are lowered. Brain function's improved because of better blood flow through your body and your brain, all while building self-esteem. As someone once said, no one has ever said after a workout, I really regret that. I shouldn't have done that. You always feel good after a workout, and that's why. Your sleep quality will be improved by strength training because your stress and anxiety is reduced, your nervous system is calmed, and it regulates melatonin and cortisol hormones. Another important one, especially as it relates to Bone health is that strength training helps improve your mobility and your balance. So in other words, preventing falls from happening in the first place. Stronger muscles will support your joints, improve your range of motion and coordination. And lastly, strength training improves long-term disease risk by lowering your blood pressure, improving your body comp, and lowering your cholesterol. So I just went through a huge list of the benefits of strength training. There are no downsides, and it's something you can start today. So think about that long list that I just read, 10, 12 items. Not once did I mention about how you'll look good in a tank top or how your muscles or abs will look great in the bathing suit this summer. No, I'm talking about living independently, managing chronic disease risk, and feeling capable in your own body well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Now, the best part of all of this is you don't have to overhaul your life or become a gym rat to reap these benefits. There is no reason to overcomplicate this. And you have to tell yourself that, because all the time I struggle with clients that are telling me, I want to just lose some weight before I start your class. Or, I don't have the right shoes. Or I've got to go get the right outfit, or I'm just so busy right now. I'll just wait till everything settles down, or maybe I'll be back next week. Let's be honest, those are all excuses, and I'm not trying to shame you because I have used those excuses myself. We all do that, okay? But the truth is, you can start now. And so I want you to wipe those excuses away and think about what starting now really looks like. Maybe it's 2 to 3 short sessions per week. 20 minutes is plenty. You can use body weight, resistance bands, light dumbbells. Your goal is progress, not perfection. Okay? If you can't do every move, if you have to modify, if you have to take more breaks, that's fine. We measure our success by progress and staying at it. Number one, focus safety always. Focus on your form and your function, not how intense the workout was or how much you sweat or didn't sweat. You don't need fancy leggings, a gym membership, or a high-end watch to get started. You just need to start. And if you're nervous, guess what? That's normal. Strength training can feel intimidating at first, especially if it's new or if your body doesn't feel like it used to, or if you're holding on to old progress or an old status that you once had. But your body today is not broken. It's adaptable and it's ready to respond, and you're not too late. Every single rep you do is a reminder to your body, I'm not done yet, I'm still building. So remember, at this stage, it's not about aesthetics. It's about function, freedom, and feeling good in your own skin. So when I say that muscle is medicine, I mean it literally. Exercise is the best medicine that you're not taking. Okay, now let's move on to talk about one of the most underestimated parts of building strength and aging well. You may have guessed it. It's nutrition. You cannot out-train poor nutrition. So that means you can do all the perfect exercising that you want, but if your diet is no good, you're not doing yourself any favors. And you can definitely not build strong muscles or bones on an empty tank. Now, a lot of women in midlife have been told either explicitly or through subtle cues that eating less is better. Smaller portions, fewer carbs, skipping meals is the path to weight loss, energy, or having more control over your body. But that advice is outdated and quite frankly, it's harmful. The truth is that what we actually need in this phase of life is more nourishment, not restriction. So let's break this down with some tips. First, let's start with protein because protein is the building block of muscle and bone. And as estrogen declines, our body becomes less efficient at using protein to build and repair tissue. And so that means we need more, not less. Most women in midlife should aim for 100 to 130 grams of protein per day, depending on their activity level. And an easy way to think about how to achieve that is to aim for 30 grams of protein at each main meal, so 3 times a day, and then round out the balance with snacks. Now, as I've told you before, I'm not a registered dietitian, and so your specific needs may differ from this. I'm speaking in generalities. But depending on your activity level and your age, these requirements could differ. And so you would be able to get the best advice for you personally from a registered dietitian. Okay, so now back to protein for a second. This doesn't mean eating chicken breasts all day. Protein can come from lots of different sources. It can come from Greek yogurt. It can come from eggs, cottage cheese, beans, tofu, protein powders, a whole host of things. And the key is to spread that protein out throughout the day so that your body has a steady supply for muscle building and repair. Now, what do I think about protein shakes? I think that they can be a good supplement to a healthy diet. And I know I have a favorite protein shake and I drink it often. It's used when you're looking for something quick and simple or to go, but really it is best to get the majority of your protein from natural sources. One other thing I have to say here is don't skip breakfast, okay? There's a couple reasons. One, if you're feeling fatigued by 10 a.m. and you've only had coffee, that's because you skipped breakfast. You should be starting your day with protein and carb combo like eggs and toast or a smoothie with protein powder, or I personally like banana with some peanut butter. It makes a real difference and it helps you set up for a smoother day. But the other reason is it's going to be very challenging to get your protein load in if you don't eat anything for breakfast. You're going to have to squeeze that 100 to 130 grams of protein in just 2 meals, and it's very challenging to do that. Now let's switch from muscle to bone. When it comes to bones, you probably have heard that calcium's good for your bones. But the news is bones aren't just made of calcium. They actually require a team of nutrients to stay strong. So that's calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, and I want to talk about creatine as well. So let's start with calcium. Your body needs about 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams daily of calcium. And if you're not getting that from food, supplements may help, but only if they're the right kind and in the right dosage. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption. So while many women are deficient in vitamin D, especially if they spend a lot of time inside or if they live in a colder climate, you can ask your doctor for a blood test to check your levels, but chances are you may benefit from a vitamin D supplement. I just recently started taking a supplement that is vitamin C and D combined in one pill. Magnesium is the third one I want to mention. Magnesium supports bone structure, muscle relaxation, and sleep. Magnesium can be found in leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, or available in a supplement form if needed. Now, there's different kinds of magnesium, so you want to make sure that you're taking the right type for the issue that you want to support. And lastly, I want to mention creatine. You might have heard a lot about this lately. It's one of the most researched supplements for muscle and bone health. And in postmenopausal women, creatine plus resistance training, so the two coupled together, have been shown to improve muscle mass, strength, and even cognition. So I have a big tub of creatine, and on most days when I remember, I take, I think it's 3 to 5 milligrams of creatine powder, and it dissolves so fast in water and it tastes like nothing. The way that I remember to take these supplements is to leave them right on the counter where I can see them. They're not the most pretty counter decorations, but it is a way for me to be reminded, hey, I need to take that today. When I clean up and put them away, I sometimes don't remember. Now, here's the thing about supplements, though. They are tools, but they're not magic bullets. Okay. So once again, it's best if you talk to your healthcare provider or a registered dietitian before starting anything new. Now, a lot of dietitians are covered under insurance for multiple visits per year. So check your insurance benefits, because being able to talk to a dietitian is priceless. And it may be a benefit that you have that you don't even know about. I know I discovered our insurance allowed for 6 visits per year the other year for free. That is a tremendous gift. So check that out and use that if you have it. Now, we need to move on to discuss carbs and fat, and both of those somehow get a bad rap. And protein, carb, and fat, those are your 3 main macros. So carbs and fat are always getting a bad rap. And by that, I mean, I can't even count the number of times that women have told me they're going to go low carb or low fat diet. And I just cringe, because there's no need of doing that. Both of these macros, carbs and fats, are necessary for a healthy diet. In fact, unless you've been instructed otherwise or a very special case, carbs should be making up the majority of your diet. Carbs are not bad. They are your body's preferred source of energy. Whole grains, fruits, legumes, starchy veggies, these are fuel for workouts, your brain, and your recovery. Healthy fats are also crucial. for hormone production, brain health, and absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like D, E, K, and A. Think about avocados, olive oil, nuts, seeds, fatty fish. Those are some great examples. When you eat to support strength, instead of trying to shrink, you give your body what it needs to thrive. I tell my clients all the time, eat to be strong, not skinny. Get the word diet out of your vocabulary. Diets do not work. You do not need to be on a diet. You need to be on a mission to build a body that supports your future. And if this feels overwhelming, please don't worry. You can start small, which is how I recommend you start anything. Start small. Focus on one meal at a time. Swap a low-protein breakfast for a balanced one. Add a handful of nuts or an extra scoop of protein to your lunch. Small shifts will make a big difference over time. It's just like resistance training. Don't let things in your life that are good for you be all or nothing. If you can't eat perfect all day, or if you can't get a workout, the whole day is not lost. The whole week is not lost. Move on from it. Show yourself some grace and make the next best decision. Nutrition is important. It is the foundation that allows your body to do the heavy lifting. And that's literally and figuratively. You need a good, solid diet. Now I'm going to get into 5 actions that you can start today. Number 1, talk to your doctor about bone health and menopause hormone therapy. If you're in midlife, especially if you're postmenopausal or even just starting to notice perimenopause symptoms, it is time to get real data. Ask your doctor for a DEXA scan to measure your bone density. I'm not giving up on asking my doctor for a DEXA scan. This is going to be your baseline. It is where your strength story starts. Also, please have a thoughtful, honest conversation about menopause hormone therapy. If you're under 60 or within 10 years of menopause, research shows that hormone therapy can prevent bone loss, improve bone structure, and reduce fracture by up to 40%. Those are some very, very compelling reasons to consider menopause hormone therapy. Now, I know it isn't for everyone, but you do deserve informed choices, not outdated fear. You have the right to know your options and build a care plan that supports your long-term health and independence. Number 2, start or continue strength training, but with intention. Stop looking at strength training like it's a fitness trend. It's not. It's a lifelong strategy for staying active, mobile, and strong. You just need 2 to 3 short sessions per week of resistance-based training that can radically improve your life. So in your sessions, you want to be sure to focus on compound movements, which are moves that require more than one muscle group at a time. So these are moves like squats, lunges, push-ups, rows, deadlifts, and overhead presses. You can use your body weight or light resistance to start. Never start too heavy. Resistance bands are great and they're very mobile. You can take those anywhere. Dumbbells, I've seen some really cool dumbbells. One of my clients has these adjustable dumbbells that go from like 1 to 5 pounds. You just screw the ends on and off and stuff. That's really good. It's very compact, takes up little space. Even water jugs, I've seen soup cans used. You don't need fancy gimmicky fitness products. And as far as your lifting, you've heard about lifting heavy, right? Here's what I recommend. You want to keep in mind that you're aiming for 8 to 12 reps of an exercise and maybe 2 to 3 sets of those reps. Okay, so 8 to 12 reps, rest, and repeat 2 more times. This will help you progress gradually. And I like that 8 to 12 recommendation because this is the way I think of it. If you can't do 8 reps, your resistance is too high. You need to modify, reduce your range of motion, or reduce your weight. But if you're going past 12 reps, you think, oh, I'm getting 13, 14, 15, 16 reps, you could probably use a heavier weight. Or you could increase your motion, or you could progress to make it a little bit more challenging in some way, maybe by adding instability or something like that. So 8 to 12 is that sweet spot. Remember too, that you don't need to be motivated to do this. Okay, I'm going to take that away from you. Daily movement is about discipline, not motivation. Remember that motivation and inspiration are sparks. They come and they go. They're like flickering lights, like fireworks. But discipline is an engine, and an engine runs once it's turned on. It runs and runs and runs. So dump the all or nothing and adopt the all or something mentality. Dump the all or nothing and adopt the all or something. Your workouts don't have to be perfect. They just have to happen. And if you need help, I got your back. I want you to know that I offer free workout plans. These are 2-week workout plans at getfitwithashley.com/plans. There's a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced plan. You can go and grab those for free on my website. I've got a full YouTube channel of guided workouts that are free, different types of workouts, and they're for all levels. And there's tons of support on exercise and healthy aging inside my Stronger Together community. Now let's move on to number 3, okay? Number 3 is nourish yourself like your future depends on it, because it does. You wouldn't expect a plant to grow in depleted soil, so don't expect your body to thrive without proper nutrients. Forget the restrictive rules and low-calorie diets that we grew up with. In midlife, we need to fuel up, not down. You want to prioritize your protein, aim for 30 grams per meal, and another 30 maybe or so with snacks. Healthy carbs, like I mentioned before, whole grains, fruits, starchy veggies, legumes. These are your brain and muscle fuel, okay? And healthy fats, like olive oils, fatty fish, seeds, nuts, avocados. These are crucial for energy and hormones. And most importantly, you want to eat to be strong, not skinny. This is about resilience, not restriction. Nourishing your body is a radical act of self-respect. Number 4, cut what's quietly hurting you. And this might be the hardest one, but this could make the biggest difference. Smoking and vaping reduce blood flow, and they impair healing and accelerate bone loss. Yes, they do. Excess alcohol weakens the bones, disrupts your sleep, and throws off a hormone balance. And overtraining or exercising too much without allowing recovery can do more harm than good, because recovery is where strength is built. And what I mean by that is that when we exercise, we break down muscle. When we recover, muscle rebuilds stronger. So you do need recovery. I want you to start small. If you've got some habits that you'd like to break, replace your post-dinner glass of wine with tea or a walk. Swap out an intense workout for a yoga or a stretching flow. Identify what you can shift and start there. It's not about judgment. I'm not telling you you're good or you're bad. This is about awareness and choosing better for the body that you want to live in tomorrow. You are responsible for that. And the last thing is, number 5, build a support system, because strength thrives in sisterhood. Now, here's something I've learned, not just from coaching, but by living it myself. You are more likely to succeed when you're not doing it alone. Midlife is a time of transition, physically, emotionally, and hormonally, and yet so many women go through it feeling isolated, confused, and unsupported. But strength, real, lasting, inside-out strength, is built in community. So whether you're just starting strength training, you want to stay consistent with your nutrition, having people around you who get it, who are walking the same road, makes all the difference. I once wrote a blog post, and you should check my website out for this blog post. It's called "You Are the 5 People You Spend the Most Time With." And what it's talking about is you looking at your life and saying, who are the 5 people that I spend the most time with? Are they friends and family members or acquaintances who build me up, who require more of me, who help me to be my best? Or are they people who drag me down, who are involved in habits that I'm trying to break, who are jealous people or gossipy people? Maybe you need to shift your circle. Real support looks like a friend who checks in on your workouts, or a walking partner who meets you at the same time every week, or even a local fitness class that makes movement fun again, where people are looking for you to show up. Even an online community that keeps you accountable, inspired, and informed, like mine, like Stronger Together. And I would love to welcome you into that community. That's exactly why I created Stronger Together. I've been a fitness trainer for many years and taught group exercise for over 25 years. But just this year, I developed a private community for women in midlife who are ready to stop shrinking and start rising. We do weekly open coaching, educational sessions, information sessions, and threads, and daily support and sisterhood. I wanted to take these women who I was working one-on-one with and in group classes with and get them together. I saw a whole like-minded community, and so I put together a forum to bring that together. Community and relationships are not overrated. They are needed more now than ever in this era of life. It's not just about personal strength. It's about collective empowerment. You need friends and other women in your circle, and they need you. Look, at the end of the day, you're not just avoiding disease. You're building a life of independence, vitality, and joy. And every single small choice, from the food you eat to the steps you take to the reps you complete, they add up to something bigger. They add up to a future where you feel capable, confident, and strong. Now, let me leave you with this. You're not behind, you're not broken, and you're definitely not too late. You are standing at the edge of a powerful chapter, one where you get to decide how you age, how you feel, and how you show up for the rest of your life. Building strength isn't about chasing perfection. It's about reclaiming your energy, your confidence, and your independence. Because the truth is, you are the caretaker of your future self. Every meal you eat, every walk you take, every weight you lift is an investment in that woman. The one who travels freely, who says yes to life, and who doesn't shrink but rises. Midlife and menopause isn't the end of your story, it's the turning point. So commit now to write this next chapter with intention. Thank you so much for listening to StrongHER Voices. If today's episode supported you, inspired you, or made you feel seen, I would love for you to subscribe and leave a quick review. It helps more women in their StrongHER era find this show, and it truly means the world to me. If you're craving more support, accountability, and connection, come join our vibrant community at getfitwithashley.com/stronger. Inside StrongHER Together, you'll find daily encouragement, expert coaching, education, challenges, and a sisterhood of women committed to growing stronger in every way. Use code VOICES for $25 off your membership. And don't forget to let me know where you're listening from. I love adding new pins to my world map of StrongHER listeners. And just a reminder, StrongHER Voices is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider about your personal health needs. Until next time, remember, you're not in a pause. You are in your power.